Welcome to the drivers' press conference ahead of this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. Valtteri, if we could start with you, please. New Mercedes contract announced at Hockenheim last weekend. Just get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, very, very happy, of course, first of all, and really also makes me proud team member again. And I think, for sure the team, I think they were evaluating all the options as always, which is fair enough. And I'm really proud also that the team wanted me and no one else for the seats. So for sure it feels good. So really, really happy to continue.
Talking contracts, Esteban, perhaps if I could come to you and ask you about contracts. What can you tell us about your future?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when there are rumors, it's always good. It means that, people are watching you on track and are, quite happy with what you are doing, so it's always a nice thing. On my side, I'm always focused on the job I have to do. And I think, yeah, if people talk about you, there's always plenty of opportunities. So we'll see. I'm not worried.
Carlos?
Yeah, pretty much the same, Nothing has been announced recently. Nothing has changed from my contractual situation together with Red Bull and Renault, and until those two parties don't move and they don't know what Ricciardo is doing, etc., my situation still doesn't change.
Valtteri, very few straights here. Some engineers refer to it as Monaco without the walls. Do you feel you're coming into the weekend on the back foot as a team as a result of that?
I think historically for Mercedes it's not been the strongest race. It is a fact, and we know that in the tracks where you need the maximum downforce, normally Red Bull has been really strong, Ferrari for sure as well. So I think coming to this weekend we can't say we're the favorites. We still come to this weekend knowing that we can do really well if we can get everything right, and that it's going to be again a close battle between three teams at least for the win. We've been seeing some really crazy races this year, and I think it's going to be a close fight again. So yeah, we are not too confident, in a way, but at the same time we know that if we do a good job, everything is possible.
Carlos, the progress you've been making, or you feel you've made with the car this season, do you feel that the complications, the problems you've had recently have maybe masked the extent of that progress that you've made, that breakthrough that you've made?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you start picking up the points that I've lost in the last 3 or 4 races for things that are a bit out of my control, I think my position would be reflected a lot better. My team knows that, I know that, and in terms of speed, especially since, as I said before, since Baku, Barcelona, I've taken a step forward and I feel a lot more confident with the car.
It's a question for Valtteri. After what happened in Hockenheim, where you were not allowed to fight in the last few stages, and given the championship situation, do you think you'll still have a chance to race freely for wins, or you'll have to play a supporting role for Lewis like you did in the second part of last year?
I do believe we are still allowed to race freely. Obviously it always goes case by case, but there's no plan in place at the moment for me being at all in a support role. So we're still on equal terms, and that's the plan for now. Obviously, hopefully it will continue for the end of the year. And yeah, back to that. Well, what happened? I think with all the difficult races we had on the triple header, we lost so many points with different causes, and I kind of get the team's decision after lap 1. Yeah, we were side by side a couple of times, and they wanted to get those points, and I'm very confident they would have done the same if I was in the lead at that point. So yeah, that's how it is.
Last year here in Budapest, Lewis gave position to you to end on the podium at the final lap. Do you think that in a similar situation this year can be happen the same team, or now you are too far from Lewis in the championship?
Well, like I said, I think it really goes always case by case. It's not guaranteed, and completely identical situation can happen again. Who knows? Every situation is treated by the situation, but there's been no decisions or anything like that made that I would be in a different role than Lewis. We are still both trying to collect the maximum points, trying to always win the race. We always have equal chance for that. So one way or the another, if me and Lewis end up in a similar situation, then it's up to the team. But we are on equal terms, so I'm still allowed to try and catch him in the points and so on.
Is there something to be done in order to make life harder for the front runners who are trying to reclaim their positions?
I don't know, to be honest. At the moment, yeah, it's really easy for them because we can't fight. You know, we would destroy our tires, and it's useless to do that because we are not competing in the same league, to be honest. So, yeah, I see it from that angle, that it's not my race, and so I have to let them go and fight for mine. But, you know, we'll see in the future, I'm sure. You know, the Formula One wants to have more equal cars in between teams, and I think that would be a good thing for the show, definitely.
And Carlos, anything to add from a midfield perspective?
No, not much to add. A bit, yeah, not realistic. No, when you see all these cars flashing by, because we are not fighting them. I'm sorry to say that because it's not good for the show, but we are just not able to fight them. It's two completely different categories. It's up to 2 seconds and a half sometimes in race pace, and there's bigger space between other categories sometimes, and they are called different, you know. And yeah, it's like that. But I really have a lot of trust in Liberty Media, the FIA, that they are gonna push hard to overcome this deficit and make the thing a bit more close. Because if not, it's just a top 6 race, and then the rest, as we all know.
What do you expect for this weekend here?
I think it's going to be finally a racetrack that suits our car better. We've gone through 3 or 4 very difficult tracks for us with lots of long straights, high-speed corners that we know we are not so strong at. We've brought the upgrade back in Hockenheim that we finally will run both cars this weekend, apart from a few other upgrades. And together with the track layout that I think is going to suit the car a bit better, with slower speed corners, I think we have a good chance to be, again, the 4th fastest team in qualifying, which it has been a while since we haven't been. And yeah, it would be nice and a big motivation boost, I think, for all the team to go to a summer break with both cars in the points and leading that midfield group.